Good morning, everybody. I'm Rob, and welcome back to AZ Backland. If you haven't seen this channel yet, welcome. I'm on my way to get my parents and drop them off somewhere, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to let you all know what I'm going to be doing here later. So today I'm going to smoke a pork shoulder. The reason I want to show you guys this is that it can be an awesome meal to cook prior to you going out camping. It can feed a ton of people. I'll also be making some baked beans. Also going to show you guys the tent I'm planning on using next week. I haven't used it yet. Air it out, clean it a little bit, and then just want to make sure all the parts and pieces are there before we get out there. So while you're watching this, and it's embedded into the video from 24 hours before I cook this pork shoulder. So I'll show you kind of how I season it up. Super simple. I just put gloves on. But I'm going to score this fat like a checkerboard. One of my GoPros just died, so I guess we're just gonna do it with this one. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. You can use mustard if you want. You don't have to. I do. This one's cut funky, so I'm just gonna throw a bunch of seasoning in the middle. So basically you just cover with mustard. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. So yeah, you just basically cover with mustard and then just coat it with some kind of seasoning. So this time I'm using this Buffalo Trace seasoning. Here we go. Let's get the inside first. Again, this is just to let it sit in the fridge for 24 hours. Let it marinate a little bit with the seasoning on it. I'll put more seasoning on it before I put it in the smoker. And then I'll put some cling wrap on here. Saran wrap, whatever you want to call it. Boom. Oh no. This is the worst. Go back to your regular scheduled program. So I pull the pork shoulder out for at least 45 minutes before I put it in the smoker. I try to bring it to room temperature a little bit so it doesn't cook cold, if that makes sense. So let me go fire up that smoker, start warming it up. All right, so this smoker right here is a Cook Shack smoker. It's more of an industrial type company that does smokers, but they do, you know, people that can use them at their households and stuff. But as you can see, it's just fully stainless steel. This is a chimney for the smoke. And I just set this to 250 for everything. I literally smoke everything at 250. These Cook Shacks aren't cheap, but for something that would normally take 8-9 hours in a normal pellet smoker, this may take 5 to 6. I used to have a bunch of different types of smokers. I've had them all. Literally had a 14 or 16 foot trailer with a smoker on it that I would cook multiple shoulders and multiple turkeys and whatnot at a time on. I'll put a picture in right now. Here's the chunk wood I use. And I think that's a mixture of mesquite, cherry, or hickory. I can't remember. So I could put about 3 chunks of wood on there and it'd probably last almost 3 hours. So we will let that warm up to 250 and then we'll put the pork shoulder in. All right, so it's 235, the temp degrees. That's good enough to throw some wood in here and get the meat on. Put wood on here. I do scrub it out before I put meat in it. So we'll find out what time it's done. Stay tuned. Something I just realized I didn't do was when I put the pork shoulder in the smoker, I usually put the fat side up. So when the fat renders, it runs through the meat, down through the meat, instead of just dripping into a pan. But so I'm gonna turn it right now before it gets too much into the cooking process. We got some wood in there still, but I'm gonna put some more. All right, we'll check it here in a little bit. Got it. All right, so this is the tent that I'm planning on taking on this next trip next weekend. We'll set it up here in a minute, show it to you. They're fairly cheap. You can get them for maybe 50 bucks at a military surplus place. So let's put this tent up. I'll show it to you. Make sure all the parts and pieces are there. All right, so I got it up. It's just basically a one-man type tent. Stake this out better if you want to get some more room. Not too shabby. Doesn't have the best smell to it right now, but. So that's actually the door, the one without a screen. This one has a screen, so it's just a giant door or a window, however you want to look at it. So I'm not gonna get too much into putting the top on it, but I get it. I messed up at the beginning of it, but you just route this through here and it pops up. Gives you like a little overhang and then a place to put your gear if you need to on the other side. This is the one I'm gonna be using when next weekend in the cold. It's supposed to be pretty real cold, but this thing will do just fine for just me. $130 almost. We're still at 250, and we're gonna check the temperature. So. What we want is around, well, we want 200 degrees. Again, it's only been 3 hours. So 144. What happens normally with these things is they'll hit a wall around 140 to 160 because of the membrane inside that pork has to like sweat out and cook through. All right, so we're still at 250. Let's take a look. $180. Perfect. Another hour or so, we'll be good to go. Here's the beans. It's just basically bush beans. This is seasoning. Sometimes I put a little seasoning in it, sometimes I don't, but that's the seasoning I use for the pork shoulder. This is all this brown sugar I have left, but I'm gonna put all that in there. A little bit of mustard, some onion, bacon, and I like putting breakfast sausage in my beans. So I'm just using some normal breakfast sausage. We're gonna cook that up and add it to the beans before we put them in the oven. We'll go 325 for an hour or two, we'll see. Let's get these cans open and in the pot. All right, so we're gonna add the brown sugar. I'm just gonna put all of it in there. With the ketchup, not a whole lot. And a tad of mustard, not much at all. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's add that sausage with the grease. I don't care, I like it. Stir that around a bit. Get it in there. Yummy. Cut up this bacon. Just normal bacon. If you can find maple bacon, it's the best. Maple everything's awesome. I know you can open these somewhere on here, but I can never find them. Let's try to like separate these a little bit so they don't stick all together when we lay them in there, when I cut them. That's fine. Whatever doesn't get cut up will fall apart later. Doesn't have to be super pretty. All right, it's been about an hour. And one thing I forgot to do was put onions in this, but now that I think about it, there might be people that don't like onions, but I am gonna put these minced dry onions in it. It has been since 10:30. It's now 4:30. We're gonna check this meat again, see what the temperature is. Again, we wanted like 195 or more. All right, so I just pulled this shoulder from the smoker at about 193. I would have waited longer, but my wife is super hungry, so I have to feed her. Not too bad. There's a couple tough spots, but not too bad. All right, everyone. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. I just want to show you guys, how I smoke a pork shoulder, and that it could actually add up to a lot of meat that you can take camping with you and use it for multiple meals with multiple people. Super easy to do. Just wanted to show you what tent I'll be sleeping in probably next weekend. We got a cool camping trip planned next weekend, so should have a pretty good video next week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, again, please subscribe, like, shoot this to your friends, have them follow me. I just think it's gonna get better and better, guys. So until next time, we'll see y'all.